embroidery, specifically beaded embroidery, is something that has really captivated my imagination and interest for a very long time. Beaded handbags, beaded accessories, beaded clothing. Oh, the possibilities are endless. They're beautiful, they're amazing. I love them. That is one of the reasons why I picked up this embroidered kit from Amazon. Now, no beads are used in the project per se. However, I did manage to sneak a few because I have them in hand always. But this project really taught me a lot about myself, the patience that is required to create these elaborate creations, and the techniques and things that I really need to master and understand before I incorporate them into my own vintage inspired pieces. If you have been looking to learn beaded embroidery or embroidery just in general, then I think you'll really enjoy today's video, as I am going to walk you through the lessons I learned from following this kit and the things that I would change going forward. Hi everyone, I'm Gonzalez-Gibson with Kaleidoscopes and Polka, where I sell handmade, vintage-inspired jewelry for the soul who's in love with the past, wholeheartedly lives in the present, and embraces the future. If you enjoy videos relating to vintage fashion, jewelry, and books, then please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you never miss a video. Long before I started beading, I purchased this amazing dress from modcloth.com. I love this dress. This was about 10 years ago that I purchased this dress. When I bought it, I didn't realize, because I don't know, I didn't notice at the time. It was one of their annual sales. If you don't know, like January is when ModCloth discounts a lot of their products down to like 75% off. It's amazing. This was one of those purchases, and no regrets. It's still with me 10 years later. I just love it. This detail though caught me off guard when I got it. I was like, oh, it looks old. But at the time, I wasn't quite into vintage the way I am now, and I wasn't that into details the way that I am now. And as a result, I didn't really treat it the best. And that's probably why some of the beaded embroidery is now falling off. But since then, things have changed. I've evolved. My style has evolved. And this dress is still truly a treasure to me. I have since noticed that anything that is embroidered is actually very expensive. And after doing 2 projects, I realized why. There's a lot of time and detail that goes into these projects. And adding beads, any kind of beadwork, is a lot of work. This many years later, I now have a greater appreciation for all the detail and the intricacy that went into making this collar. This collar, I think, is probably not hand-stitched, but rather machine-stitched. There are machines that are able to embroider and add beads at the same time. And I think that also has to do with why it's falling apart. Anyway, let me talk to you about my beading journey, because it kind of correlates into why I bought this project. So, I love to use beads. I love beaded jewelry. I love seed beads. Oh, there's something magical and fluid and amazing. It's probably that they're so delicate and that together they just combine to make something so beautiful. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know. If you love paper products, you probably kind of get it, because there's something magical about the tactile nature of writing and using your pen and feeling the paper. That's kind of how I feel about beads. Each bead talks to me differently, says something different when the light shines on it. When I first started beading, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to create these elaborate pieces of jewelry. And I did start. I started investing a lot of time into these pieces. And then I created my first necklace. It's not very elaborate at all. I used what are called galvanized beads. They are shiny beads that are basically coated with this luster. It's beautiful. It looks metallic, with the idea that this would be a starting point, and then I would add to it, and then I would add to it, and then I would add to it to create something greater. Well, as I do, I started the product, I started the necklace, I wore it, About a week later, I realized that all the galvanized beads looked totally different. The metallic sheen to them was no longer there. They were more white than copper, which was what they were originally supposed to look like. This broke my heart. Now, this necklace isn't very elaborate at all, but it took me quite a long time to put it together. Just the conception of what I'm doing with the beads. It's a lot of playing around with them. And because of that, I kind of just left jewelry and just dedicated my time to making bookmarks, because that's what I was selling anyway. But that piece was a revelation. It was right around this time that I discovered beaded embroidery books. Probably the answer to all of the dissatisfaction that I felt from creating beaded jewelry that just kind of fell by the wayside. Because the thing is, galvanized beads are great. I think that they serve a purpose. Otherwise, why would vendors create so many galvanized beads in such a wide array of colors that attract people like me, probably? They are perfect for embroidery projects. Why? Because they don't touch the skin. The skin has natural oils, and of course we lotion up, and that oil mixes with our natural oils, and that is what causes all of that sheen to come off. Something that brought me back to embroidery, and I mean not beaded embroidery, just good old-fashioned embroidery, is the fact that over the summer I did a number of projects. The beads kind of had a life of their own. I didn't feel like I had that control, and I felt like a lot of embroidery, just regular old embroidery, showcases that the artist is in control, that the artist is showing you what they want you to see, not what the material wants to do on its own, if that makes sense. That is another reason why I'm here today, finally, talking about my first embroidery project where minimal beads were used. Before buying this kit though, I did purchase this book, Embroidery, a Step-by-Step Guide to More Than 200 Stitches by Lucinda Ganderton. This book is amazing, and it's very similar to the book that I learned how to seed bead with, which is basically a compilation of just all the stitches, and then it gives you ideas on what you could do with it. But basically the idea is you learn how to embroider by practicing these stitches. From what I learned from learning to seed bead is that I need a project. Otherwise, I end up going all in with all the practicing and then using materials endlessly without anything really tangible at the end. And I didn't really want to do that. Embroidery is lovely, it's fun and all, but it doesn't spark my heart on fire like seed beads did. That is why I went out and actually looked for a project to work on. And that is when I discovered this kit. I love this kit. This kit provides you everything you need for your project, and then some. I mean, you will have a little bit of extra material. At least I did. I had a ton of extra material, which I'm grateful for because now I could do other projects with it. But while the packaging out here is like English, the directions are not. The directions are in, I think, Chinese. They have some awesome diagrams and visuals, which is great, but they were not enough. Luckily, I did notice before purchasing that the listing included a video of somebody making it from start to finish, which I thought was brilliant. That's exactly actually why I purchased this product to begin with. If you have any questions, most of the time this video will assist you in the process. But everything considered, it wasn't enough for me. I need things explained to me at an elementary level, like kindergarten level, to where I can regurgitate it to you and say, I got it. And that's where this book, the book that I had purchased previously, really shined. So if you're a newbie and you're thinking about investing in this kit, then I recommend you at least have somebody that you could talk to, or a resource from your library or something, because this kit is just probably not going to be enough for you. Now, knowing that this was my first real embroidery project, that I really didn't know what I was doing, And because this was actually a gift for my mom. I was meant to finish this way back in October, but life got ahead of me, and here we are in December, finally talking about it. So, Mom, I know your birthday was Halloween. I'm sorry, I love you, but you're gonna get your presents soon. I hope you liked your flowers. Because I know me, and because I know that I make a lot of mistakes, and I think most of us would say the same when we're first learning something, I didn't want to go ahead and mess anything up before I got a chance to practice, so I made a mock-up. From making this mock-up, I learned quite a lot. First is the tension in the thread counts. Usually when I'm seed beading, the tension needs to be intense. But in the case of embroidery, you need to let it flow, if you will. And I didn't, not in my mock-up. And as far as knotting, I am still learning how to use those knotting stitches because they are an art form. In the future, I think I'll probably just use a seed bead because essentially it's the same effect. I take pride in keeping most of my pieces. All of the firsts, I love the firsts, they're the crappiest, but they are the ones that teach me all of the lessons. But it has its issues, and I'm excited to figure out how to make it even more special. Now, once I finished it though, I thought, man, I'm good. Oh, honey, the second time was a lot better. second go around was a lot better. This is a finished project and I am really pleased with how it turned out. Now, while the embroidery looks a lot better than the mock-up did, there are still things that I wish I could have done better. And one of them is attaching the clasp. The clasp, I don't know how in the future I'll correct this, but the clasp basically has just enough wiggle room to allow you to add the fabric. Now, I kind of envisioned that maybe I could just add some glue because some clasps don't have the holes so that you could sew it through. However, knowing me, I will probably make a mess with the glue. Now, the diagram does try to really help you out. It tells you start in the middle and work your way down, and I did, and it did work well, but oh, it was still hard. You could see the thread and you can see my knots, and if you're a beader, you know that you're kind of supposed to really hide those things. That didn't happen here. That's something that I really need to work on, and hopefully I will master that and watch more YouTube videos in the future to figure that out. But that is probably the biggest failure in my mind about this project. The project didn't ask me to create a handle. However, I thought that since I have all of the materials, why not? And it adds a little extra because handles to me are quite important. So I used a bit of jewelry wire, some beads that I thought went with it well, and a little ribbon, because who doesn't love ribbon? I know I do. What do you think? I love it. I think it is just so pretty. I think it's a great gift, finally, finished, for my mom. Have you tried any of these kits? If so, which one? I know this kit is pretty popular as a starter kit. What do you think about embroidery? Do you love it, or are you just indifferent? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you never miss a video. Also, please sign up for my newsletter. That is where I communicate on a weekly basis whenever these videos go live so that you never miss out. And you'll also receive a 20% off discount code instantly to anything in my shop. I am so excited to in the future come out with an embroidery collection. Mexican embroidery, embellished to the nines with beads. I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye. Do you want to see some close-ups of really awesome embroidery? Alright, have a good day. Bye.